support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Jest 6 lutego 1981 roku. Wiadomości zaczynają doniesieniami o lądowaniu UFO w Polsce. Pan Józef Kunik, rolnik z Truskawców na Warmii, wczoraj na spotkaniu ziemskiej...
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to see and hear is real. Just the names have not been changed because I'm sick of giving these people any sort of support when they're covering up all the time. You're on Untold Radio, of course. My name's Jay Katz.
And I'm Aspasia.
And this is episode 86, Project UFO, Sargent Joe Friday, 2 colonels and 1 blue book.
That's right.
Sounds like you could actually sing that, Aspasia.
You could.
Listen, like we always say every week, and I really copped it for this statement just down there in those little comments that are left. Not so much the chat, but, you know, we are broadcasting on solar land. We pay respects to our indigenous culture that's absolutely profound and one of the oldest, if not the oldest, that could tell us more about this planet if we actually respected them and paid attention. So we want to stop here and just consider the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and pay our respect and umbrage and thoughts to elders past, present, and emerging.
That's right.
Untold Radio. Asper, you look so gorgeous.
Do I now?
You really do. I love it.
Okay.
All right. Well, tonight is the reflecting mirror.
It is.
We're basically going back there. I don't know what your week's been like.
We can't kind of leave it, can we?
We can't.
Because
it keeps reflecting back on us the past.
Getting dragged back with all these, new people come out, new revelations, new whistleblowers.
The whistleblower Karl Nell is beyond a revelation.
Yeah.
That is the most articulate. Excuse no due respect to anyone else, David Grosh, David Fravor, Ryan, all those extraordinary whistleblowers that are so courageous. But this guy is so spot on. I can't help he was taken into some sort of cabin
and he might have
framed.
been scripted.
He might be scripted. Oh, look,
hey.
His heart is absolutely in the right place.
Yeah.
But it feels to me as if they're totally afraid.
This is an ongoing thing, and they're trying to work out which way is the best way to go because they don't know what's really going to happen when it hits the fan. And they're just trying to, account for all scenarios and be ready to pick up the pieces.
What I was going to say is this looks like they are so afraid of what is being termed since 2003 as catastrophic UFO disclosure.
Right.
Now, we'll get to that in a moment. It's a bit like the Mazar avalanche effect we learned years ago.
Yeah.
And if you keep the lid on something on a pressure cooker way too long,
it's going to blow.
It's going to explode. But we need to pay note to our greatest colleagues, heroes, researchers, and the most astounding people in the field. Now, you're aware we have lost many people. Stanton Freeman goes way back. We have lost the astounding Dr. Bruce Maccabee. Let's have a little bit of a look at Bruce in action from the 1978 film inspired the... Did you ever see this in the cinema? UFOs Are Real. I still have a great love for this movie, even though it has some hokey moments. It is an astounding feature film, and it's amazing that it actually
I was watching things like Jaws.
Something unearthly is a good way to describe this unidentified flying object that was photographed by Mr. Paul Trent when he and another witness saw it fly across his farm. These 2 pictures have been the subject of some of the most rigorous photographic analysis ever done on UFO photographs. Dr. Bruce Maccabee, an optical physicist involved in advanced laser research for the United States Navy. He calculated that the object would have been about a mile away and approximately 30 feet in diameter.
My analysis of the complete case leads me to believe that the Trents are actually telling the truth. An unusual object did fly at some distance from their farm. It would have been quite large, and its shape is such that I don't believe it was made by mankind.
Additional support for the McMinnville photograph comes from this photograph of a strikingly similar object taken 4 years later by a French military pilot.
The Trents went through sheer hell over those photos.
And those photos got taken by the military.
Hold on, please. Go back. I've
sorry.
got another piece of Bruce, and we have to, let's hear about Bruce's career just up there. Thank you, Aspasia.
Which one, this one?
Yep, don't be
Okay.
so quick. Give me a break there.
That's
Go.
not what you told me in the beginning, but anyway.
Yes, it is.
Hi, I'm Bruce Maccabee. I'm a physicist. I've been working for the Navy for a long time, which has nothing to do with my UFO research. I have a website in which I have over 90 megabytes worth of UFO information that encapsulates my investigations over the last 30 or so years. I have written 2 books on the subject, one of them called The UFO FBI Connection, the other one called Abduction in My Life. You can find on my website numerous other papers that I have written that cover the history of the subject and case investigations. I would call your attention in particular, for example, to the New Zealand sightings and the Japan Airlines sighting 1628, Kenneth Arnold's original sighting in 1947, and numerous others on the website.
Beautiful stuff. Now, that was just a little piece of Bruce.
Now, Bruce also did that footage analysis.
Bruce in Missing 411, the second film, The Hunted. Yes, that's right.
Yes. And that was his wife that actually took
Jan.
Yeah, the footage on her mobile phone.
And what we should do is give our condolences to Jan, his family, his friends, his cousins. He was so supportive. He was a big family man. Or whoever.
Oh, right.
You know, the entire extended family.
Is he Greek? Is he?
Well, I've been around so many Greeks. I'm
Greek,
totally indoctrinated. But to all of the friends, family, and fans of Bruce Maccabee, we have that great book of his, the FBI information entitled in there. Bruce was so pro UFO.
He was.
But he was very scientific in his analysis.
Approach, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I just think, you know, our hearts go out to his family. Have a look at Missing 411. Actually,
The Hunted,
found Jan Maccabee up on YouTube. She's only got 23 subscribers.
Okay, well, maybe she's
just a few more than just our channel. I mean, Untold Radio's got a lot of subscribers, but we get the lowest number on the algorithm. Okay. They're out. They're shadow banning us. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Now, last week, for those people that tuned in, we had some person that there said, I'm leaving this site because the host is too woke.
Okay, whatever. See you later.
The Conquer and Divide people do not shoot the messenger. And what is woke? If they had to look at my music and film career, my acting career, the last thing they call me is woke. But we don't intend to be offensive here. We want to be supportive to all different aspects.
Here's the thing. We're not offensive, but if somebody takes offense to what we say, that's their problem, not ours.
It's subjective.
It is,
it's
absolutely.
Not objective. So, now, can you show what Michelle Renal, the great French cryptozoologist, such a beautiful man, he sent you this photo, Aspasia.
He did. He sent this photo last week.
And he already predicted that this has been put through the fact checker algorithm.
So this was, a few days after we did that podcast with him.
Yeah.
And we were talking about giant squid or octopus.
Yeah. How hard it'd be to cut them up.
And he was like so freaked out. You need a big barbecue to chuck that thing on there.
Oh, you need days with a bandsaw, a chainsaw.
He emailed us a few days later. He said, "Oh my God, how synchronous is this? This has come up." And he said, "Do you think it's AI?" And we kind of went,
and it
probably
is.
It
is.
It's kind of too.
AI takes the fun out of cut and paste, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was definite. So if you did come across it, it's definitely AI'd.
All right.
Pity.
Now, look, there must be no one in the world that doesn't know the extraordinary Jack Webb. Can you just put the picture up there? I can. The man behind Dragnet.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of those voices.
Yes.
One of those images. Now, this guy was Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he had a bit of a background in the military. He wanted to become an aviator. He
He
wanted to
did.
become a pilot.
And he could
Failed badly.
Yeah, well,
Did become an MC
Mhm.
for their entertainment section
yes,
and numerous other
amazing
things.
producer and director.
He is
My God.
he is a machine.
The
No one
shows that he
else
churned,
like
he
him.
churned them out.
I was listening to Leonard Nimoy. He created his own production company, Mark 7, with
Yes,
the Roman
yes.
numerals,
Mhm.
the big hammer. Lots of people actually use that. That's been burnt.
Yeah.
But he was doing Dragnet on radio, and then all of a sudden,
On
bang,
TV.
TV
Yeah,
time. I think
absolutely.
literally hundreds of episodes, quite a lot of them,
Yeah.
possibly in public domain. Who knows?
Mhm.
I mean, originally I think he was selling to Universal TV, he was selling to Warner Brothers. He kept with those till he did the Maverick series we're going to talk about today, between 78 and 79,
Mhm.
Project UFO,
Yeah.
where he was given unprecedented access
Mhm.
in the mid-70s to the Project Blue Book files.
Yeah.
And some of the information I don't believe that was ever deemed public at the time,
Right. Okay.
which is fascinating.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like you when you watch those episodes, you don't know what's real, what's not. What was what kind of art and how much artistic license they were taking when doing these episodes. Some of the episodes they were based on real cases, but they've taken so much.
Well, they've done
you can hardly
They've
recognize
done
them.
what the History Channel
Yeah,
did
sure,
recently.
absolutely.
But I think this program, Aspasia,
Yeah, but there were other episodes that were like, oh my God, I know this is really true to the case, really well
think
done.
you'll find if
Mhm.
you actually go back through this, and we're going to put a link to a
Yes.
couple of archives where you can watch. There is a rights problem. There's a contractual problem
Right.
with this series.
Mhm.
It has never been released officially
Right. Yes.
on
No, it
video.
hasn't,
It's
no.
never been released
There's
officially
never
on
been an
DVD.
official release.
It
yeah.
had very few syndicated screenings in the world.
Mhm, yeah.
Australia in the mid
Only
80s
got
was
one.
one of them.
Yeah.
For TV1, it ended up, there was an oil company, an American oil company
Mhm.
that had merged with an Indian one that
Yeah.
gave it a run in India, oddly enough.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it had an Indian transmission,
Mhm.
but it's a little known series that is highly important
It is.
and highly suggestive of what we're hearing from our latest whistleblower,
Sure.
our Colonel Karl Nell.
Mhm.
We're going to have a look at Karl in a moment because Karl happens to be the most articulate whistleblower
Mhm.
who is foreshadowing, if you don't disclose this to the public,
Yeah.
the
Pressure cooker.
the
The lid's going to blow.
cataclysm
Yeah.
is the catastrophic, excuse me, release.
It'll
You
be a
can't get
catastrophic cataclysm.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
Got
you
it.
so much.
That's all
A
right.
cyclonic cavalcade, a
Yeah,
pulsating
that's
horror.
right. And
That's
that
where
too.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
But excuse me for actually just stepping back a bit here.
Mhm.
Leonard Nimoy stated he had never worked for anyone like him before. It was like he was on the screen for 3 minutes. He was actually in the studio for 4.
Yeah. Right.
And there was no one for him to look at,
Mhm.
for his character to speak to. He had 2 telephones.
Yeah.
He had either a teleprompter or a script.
Right.
And you read your lines. You didn't learn your lines. You read your lines then and there.
And you were
You
out.
were in.
And then you were out.
out.
Yeah.
And
one take.
Yeah, one take. And if you did a second take, you'd probably never work on Dragnet again.
That's how he
This
was
guy
able to
was
churn
churning
them out. Yeah.
churning him out like
Yeah.
you would not believe.
Okay.
And he went on to do a multiplicity of series
Yes,
in that
yes, he
regard.
did.
Now, he had a reboot in 1966 that ended up going to air not until 69 with an LSD episode
Of
when it was legal, and
Right.
then when it went to where it was
It was
illegal
illegal
on
to do-
Dragnet,
Yeah, right, okay.
67 or
Yeah,
something
right,
they
okay.
called it. He was a big jazz buff. Did you
Mhm.
know about that? His
Mhm.
first wife was absolutely unbelievable.
Really? Show me.
Julie London.
Oh, right. Okay.
And if
yeah,
you
yeah,
cry
yeah.
me a river,
Yeah, got it.
cry me a river,
Yeah.
I'll cry a river over you.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy had it made.
In the
Are you
shade.
kidding me?
Yeah.
He evidently died. There were over 6,000 original vinyl jazz albums,
Wow.
many Verve albums worth a fortune
Oh,
a
right,
day.
okay, yeah.
He even thought that, people would purchase his sort of, reflections on jazz music.
Oh.
So he released You're My Girl. Sold very poorly.
Yeah,
No one was
okay.
really interested.
No.
But you know what?
What?
You can't discount Jack Webb. He took police procedure. Now, is that Julie there or someone else? Because she had another 3
No,
wives.
that's Julie London.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Look
that's
at
Julie.
that, swinging in their PJs or the swimming outfits, you know.
No, I don't think they're PJs. That's he's wearing like a he's
Down by
wearing
the
his
pool.
swimmers and then
It's a real Santa Barbara lifestyle.
Sure, it
you
is.
know.
It is. Yep. We
This-
should all have that lifestyle.
This
But
guy
anyway.
was heavily important
Mhm.
and would go on to be so important that, you know, look,
Wow, on the front of Time.
Time magazine, you don't get greater status
So
than
what
that.
did he? Do you know what he got on there for? Was it
Well,
one of those?
what
Don't
he-
ask me that question. Sorry.
Aspa?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You don't know, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
He gave the first real life television series ever with
All
Dragnet.
right. Okay. Yeah.
It was Police Procedure. Many
Oh,
police had actually come to him on the set of Film Wires
Mhm.
because he was a character actor as
Sure.
well.
Yep.
Writer, screenwriter, producer, character actor, you name it, he did it all. And they came to him and they said, look, you know, this is really bad how we're being represented on the screen.
Right.
In the end, he represented the LAPD.
Mm.
It might have been a fairy tale
Yeah. right.
because the police
As the good
procedural
guys.
stuff was right,
Yeah.
but they were deemed like they very rarely shot a gun. There was never any police brutality.
Oh,
There
right,
was
yeah.
no racism,
No,
you know, and
No,
so,
yeah, sure.
you know,
Yeah.
he actually impressed them so much they named 2 buildings after him.
Right. Yes.
And when he died
Mhm.
at 62 years of age,
Yes.
3
Because he had a
packets,
3-packet
cigarette habit a
habit
day.
Yeah.
They actually did a full police funeral for him.
Right. Okay.
But what
Fair
we're
enough.
here today to talk about is this
Yes.
profound series,
This
which is so odd because this guy, in a way, could have been a propagandist, not just for the LAPD,
sure.
which
Well.
has always had a bit of a difficult reputation,
Mhm.
deeply involved in the whole MK Ultra thing
Yeah.
around LA and San Francisco there.
Yes.
So, you know, quite questionable. And, you know, it really does feel like Karl Nell in many ways that this series was testing the water.
Sure.
Yeah, again.
Yep.
All of a sudden you've been told, you know, there was nothing worthy of nothing that actually was a
Mhm.
threat to national
Yeah. Move
security.
along. There's
Put
nothing
it
to
away,
see
the
here.
Condon Report.
Yep.
And then, you know, less than 10 years later, the guy that gave us Red Nightmare, he did a lot of propaganda films,
Well,
a lot of educational films. Don't you
Yes.
love Red Nightmare?
I do love Red Nightmare.
Released by Rhino on video.
Yeah.
There in the late
In the
80s,
90s?
90s
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
and the
late 80s, early
commies are
90s.
coming.
Yeah, commies are
But
coming.
it's basically as you wake up in the morning, go outside, and your entire
Everything's changed.
yeah. The
You're living in
Russians
Russia.
have taken over,
Yep.
and that's it.
Yep.
Now, the most fascinating thing to me
Mhm.
about Project UFO is always look in the credits of these series.
Yes.
You don't have to go far to find
No, you don't.
Colonel William Coleman. Now, just like Karl,
Yep.
Colonel, retired U.S. Air Force,
Mhm.
highly credentialed gentleman.
Yep.
And you may remember him from UFO Cover Up Live in 1988.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But you may also remember him from the incredible James Fox's, and this documentary deserves more streaming and play
Phenomenal.
than it's ever
Mhm.
got. Phenomenal.
Yep.
And he is the very first story. So what I think we'll do here
Mhm.
on episode 86 there, ladies and gentlemen, I
Yes.
think what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the producer
Mhm.
of, isn't this incredible?
Yeah.
That this guy ended up as the producer of this series.
Of
Project UFO.
Project UFO. That's correct.
On a clear, sunny day in 1955, William Coleman, a decorated World War II pilot, took off from Miami on a routine flight to deliver a B-25 bomber to an airbase in Mississippi.
My co-pilot said, "Look at that bright spot up there. I think it's just a reflection of the sun, a craze probably in the windshield."
He and his passengers, 2 aviation engineers, realized it was a strange object, making a rapid descent right across their flight path.
My God, look at that thing. And I opened it up to max continuous power. Here we're clipping right along at over 300 miles an hour, right on the treetops. So I'm right on the tail of this thing. As we got closer, I said, it doesn't have a tail, doesn't have any wings. Look at the shadow on the ground. The shadow is perfectly round. that's not an airplane. And I said, I'm overtaking it. So I said, hang on. So I'm gonna make a hard turn. There it was, a disc going across the field with two big swirls. What I didn't see was any exhaust, propulsion, no rivet lines, a rounded edge about that size where it all came together. A true flying saucer.
Then it seemed to vanish until they spotted it thousands of feet above them.
Bright yellow, sunnish looking object. It went like a bat out of hell.
After they landed, the stunned witnesses were separately debriefed by Project Blue Book, the Air Force investigation of the UFO phenomenon. Ironically, a little over a decade later, Colonel William T. Coleman became public spokesman for Project Blue Book.
Probably what we saw may have been from somewhere else. Look, the Air Force is a very deadly being when it comes to intercepting an unknown. If it proves hostile, we're going to shoot it down. Other than that, no problem.
Really, no problem. I'd have a word to Thomas Mantell about that. I think there were quite a lot of problems.
I'd say you can only shoot it down if you can. But if
And
you
that
can't,
is
you can't.
the producer there.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he's passed on. So, you know, all due respect to his family as well. But interesting history for William Coleman because isn't it fascinating how they leave the military and end up doing television, print, and film?
Yeah.
That's just so odd in itself.
It is.
But we believe that William is reflective of our most recent whistleblower. Have a listen to this.
And my last assignment was involved with the UAP task force, which maybe is the most apropos for this discussion.
And so, Karl, here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
And so, Karl, that is quite a bold statement. I'm wondering, and I'm curious, how confident are you that that is true?
There's zero doubt.
And
you got that zero doubt there.
Zero
That's
doubt.
quite astounding. Please go up and look at Karl Nell at the SALT iConnections conference. It is absolutely profound what he says. And he goes through like 6 categories of why it's difficult to release that information. Primarily, we're looking at the stricken, the panic, institutions, faith-based institutions and their collapse. All sorts of things. You remember the other statements that he made too about our ability to actually either adapt to this. But you're so over it, aren't you?
I kind of am because, you know, I see people and, you know, and I speak to people all the time about stuff and these revelations come out, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh yeah, that's amazing. But what else is on the neck? What else is it there?
Show.
Do you know what it is? And people are like the Truman Show. It's like, oh, that was really amazing. But, you know, what else have you got for me? And everything is just like entertainment. It's for their entertainment value. They don't think that anything is actually that any of these things are going to impact on them.
Not just a byproduct of this day and the distractive culture we're in. In 1952, for 2 weeks, that was covered by the press and the military. You know, they were all over the White House.
Yeah, they were.
And those incursions on those weekends, I mean, we interviewed the son of the Secretary of State, Defense. And she believed there was an invasion occurring.
Well,
they were absolutely scared out of their wits.
They were traumatized. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, certainly at this point in time, we're more distracted than ever. We're more confused than ever. But please go and listen to the statements of Karl Nell. I think there is a fear there that this catastrophic disclosure is going to occur, and they've got him out there, a spokesperson that is actually whistleblowing in the clearest way.
Yeah.
And he's making those statements. He's afraid of historic culpability, for dereliction of duty, for injury to others, for threatening and suppressing others, that the government's going to cop it for that. There is so many different factors.
Which government? Which government? You know, governments come and go.
It's the worldwide phenomenon.
But even in the government, it's so that, you know, whoever's in office at the time can say, well, I wasn't here all those years ago. I didn't make that policy. And most governments, people that are in charge, you know, they're not the ones running the show. It's the ones that he said,
the
unelected officials.
Yep.
They're the people that are running
but they're unelected.
No, but they're unelected, and they, you know, the governments can change. You know, can come and go and change. They stay in their jobs and they still run the policies. But if the government of the day is not running that policy, where is that policy from?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. So governments can wipe their hands, and then you go, okay, well, it wasn't this government, wasn't that government. So who is running the show? Who is making these policies to keep this under wraps?
I'll tell you who's running the show.
Who? Tell me.
People like Karl Nell. Because Karl Nell is still an active Pentagon official, I believe.
How long? And do you know how long he's been?
Senior military officer.
Yep.
He has decades of service. He was an aerospace executive.
Yeah.
But here's one thing in connection with Project UFO. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yes.
He's worked extensively for them. And that this program is set around two investigators
the
involved
Project
with
UFO.
the Foreign Technology Division out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yep.
And Wright-Patterson has been mooted from day one
Yes.
as somewhere where exotic, anomalous, and unusual
Technology
things
has
are
come
looked
out.
at
Yep.
and possibly reversed engineered.
Yep.
Or at least, you know.
Yeah. They get their hands on it.
Here's the other weird thing about this series. It was the first and only time that Jack Webb was not affiliated with Universal Television or Warner Brothers.
Right.
He was attached to an odd company called World Vision Enterprises. Now, around about at the same time, being shot in the California desert with David Bowie was Nicholas Rowe doing The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Okay.
Now, that was the story of Thomas Jerome Newton,
Yep.
who had come from
Another
a
planet.
water planet that had dried up down here,
Yep.
seeded our culture with advanced patents
Sure.
that changed technology and commodity goods
Yep.
so rapidly that he was funding a flight back to his planet
Yep.
with that water. And what was his company? His television, his film company that
Right.
had changed the world
What was
in
it?
terms of its commodities? It was called World Enterprises. It wasn't called World Vision Enterprises, but
World Enterprise.
it's odd.
Yeah.
To me, is that just, it probably is just synchronicity.
Yeah, but
But 1978, two
Yep.
investigators attached to the Foreign Technology Division out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yep.
And here they are in their series. Let's catch the start titles.
Ezekiel saw the wheel. This is the wheel he said he saw. These are unidentified flying objects that people say they are seeing now. Are they proof that we are being visited by civilizations from other stars? Or just what are they? The United States Air Force began an investigation of this high strangeness in a search for the truth. What you are about to see is part of that 20-year search. These are unidentified flying objects. Are they proof that we are being visited by civilizations from other stars? Or just what are they?
Wow.
Yep.
So that was the 2 seasons. So that was the first season. You
That's
got
right.
Ezekiel's wheel
Yeah,
within a
with-
wheel
yeah,
with that
yeah.
great voice of Jack's.
He had a
Sort of
great voice,
similar in a
didn't he?
way to our beautiful Rod Serling.
Yeah,
You know, Twilight
yeah.
Zone.
Mhm.
And then the second season, 13 episodes each.
Yeah.
In the show notes, we
You
will
can find
give you
the
a
link
link
is there.
to see the whole lot. Don't go
Yeah.
and buy this on a stick or
Well, you can't.
on
well,
DVDs.
yeah, you can't buy it.
They're all bootlegs.
Sure.
So
they're all-
you're
but,
best off just
you're
going
not gonna
straight
get
to the
really
streaming
good
source.
copies.
And I think they're videos off TV1
Yeah.
when they're actually broadcast.
That's right.
So what we'll do is, I think what we'll do, Aspasia, is get you to
Mm-hmm.
just slowly read through whilst I put some stills up from the series.
Okay.
And you can tell us the episodes' names and we can just comment about those. Here's our 2 investigators here.
Yeah.
That's
is
a great
them.
shot, isn't
Yeah,
it? Beautiful
yeah.
shot.
Look, a lot of them, I really remember it.
You remember this when it was
I
first
don't remember
broadcast?
it back in. I vaguely remember it when it was broadcast when I did watch it.
Right.
But then later on, when we got the copies and had a look at them ourselves,
Yeah.
before David.
I don't know
when
if we
David
ever
came-
got proper copies. Did we ever purchase copies of this? I don't think
We-
so. On bootleg. No,
well,
we didn't.
We got
I'm actually
bootleg ones.
stating that we're
Yeah.
purchasing bootlegs. We've got a
Oh, well,
warehouse full of
sometimes-
bootlegs.
Sometimes
It's
you
the only
couldn't
way
get
to
them,
see things.
anything. Yeah, there was the only way you could get.
All right,
to see
now it's
things.
raining like hell here.
It's
so
all right. It's fine. Anyway, okay. So 2 seasons, 13 episode per season. Started in February 1978. The first one was citing 4001, the Washington D.C. incident.
So what that list is the numbers out of Project Blue
Yeah,
Book, and we
yeah.
know what that is. That's the incredible sightings, basically. But it's also here. I think it's
But they're in order. Those sightings. I don't know if they are citing. They can't be, can they?
no, they
No,
must
they're
not
not.
be. They
Anyway,
must, don't
so-
worry about the number. Then.
No, so there's no plot description for the Washington D.C. incident, but would that be the 1952 case?
It should be. But look at that. There's your plot for it
No,
there.
this is season 1, episode 1. So
Okay.
season 1, episode 0.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So season 1, episode 1, the Washington D.C. incident. A woman on a Virginia farm reports a strange object in her yard and a robot-like creature which communicates with her. A U.S. Air Force pilot chases the UFO and dies.
Thomas Mantell.
Mantell
So what
case,
you're
for
seeing is
sure.
the Mantell case.
Yeah.
They're fused like they did the
They did,
History
yeah.
Channel, but the History Channel did a dreadful, contradictory,
Well,
paradox job
sometimes,
that
yeah.
I can't help but feel is disinformation
Well,
to
it's
Project Blue Book.
within that information that they're disclosing. There's also disinformation, so you kind of don't know what's what.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
really destroys you a
Unless,
bit.
well, yeah. Okay. Episode 2, the Joshua Flats incident. Prominent citizens of a town report seeing a UFO, but investigators cannot get information from them and turn instead to an 11-year-old boy. The Fremont incident.
That's episode 3.
Episode 3. I'm in New York State. Major Gatlin and Sargent
Fritz, they're the
Fritz
investigators.
investigate a series of UFO sightings, including a sighting of alien beings, as well as claims to have fragments of alien spacecraft.
There you go. Cross retrieval's already in
yeah.
there within the 3rd episode.
That's right. See, episode 4, the Howard Crossing incident. In Wyoming, ranchers claim they were attacked by aliens prompting Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fritz
to investigate.
So, well, they investigated all the cases. They went out there. Episode 5, the Medicine Bow Medicine
Bow incident.
Medicine Bow incident. After 2 airline pilots report a UFO sighting, Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fritz traveled to Medicine Bow, Wyoming, to investigate claims of a sighting, but find a young man who corroborates the pilot's sightings. sighting. Sorry. Number 6, the Nevada Desert Incident. In Nevada, Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fitz investigate a USAF lieutenant's claim of a UFO sighting in the desert. So there was quite a few episodes that, had to do with military personnel. Yeah. Having sightings, and they were investigating
and there are
them.
very few of these episodes in this series, oddly enough, that they debunked, which had Air Force
exactly
all over it. So, what are they doing? They're out there sort of releasing information.
Okay, the Forest City incident. A group of teenagers believe they saw a UFO while they were out parking in the wilderness. Number 8, the Desert Springs incident. Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fitz encounter a woman who was visited by 2 men from Venus who say they can reunite her with a long-lost husband for $40,000. Later, they investigate a more credible sighting in a mountain
and
of
so
California.
if they had something to debunk the sighting, at the end, it'd always have that thing, that twist where it came around and there was something that was questionable that could mean that we're looking at something real.
That's right. Number 9, the French incident. Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fitz travel to France where they investigate an alleged alien abduction of an American diplomat's son.
Oh, my God, I need to look at that episode. That could be very interesting. Do you think that's the one by Hopkins? No, she is before it.
No, I don't know. Number 10, the Waterford incident. Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fitz travel to Wisconsin to see a man who says he's shot arrows at an alien robot.
Now, is this what the alien robot was? Robbie is back
Robbie.
in a distorted form.
They've sorted him out.
And
they used that robot so many times, didn't they?
They said the model
They really
work,
got their money worth out of it.
the model work was rather abysmal at times on this series. It was
sometimes
good
it was great. Other times it was like, oh my God, this is so woeful. It's bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Dollhouse incident. Major Gatlin and Sergeant Fitz investigates a sighting by an emotionally troubled man.
Sounds like one of my sightings.
12 is the Rock and Hard Place incident. Gatlin and Fitz investigate a sighting which was seen in the night sky by numerous people, including themselves.
Well, there you go. I mean, you can't.
Are you going to believe your lying eyes?
And
I don't know.
The next one, the St. Hilary incident,
Yep.
it's cited by nuns. So, I mean, you can't.
Oh, yes,
I
actually remember the nun one. It's like, well, if you can't believe a nun, who can you believe?
exactly.
I mean, seriously.
All
Anyway,
right.
So season 2,
Yes.
the
Another
underwater
13
incidents,
episodes.
so a USO.
Yeah, well, there you go. Very early in the piece.
Captain
USOs.
Ryan and Sergeant Fitz investigate. Oh, did they change?
Yes, one of them changed. One of them left the show.
A report of a UFO that came down from the night sky and submerged itself off the coast of California before ramming into a boat, injuring the 2 men on board.
Wow.
So number 2 on season 2, the pipeline incident. Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz hitch a ride on a KC-135 to Alaska to investigate a UFO sighting by 3 Alaskan air cargo pilots. 2 of the pilots want to cover up the sighting, but radar seems to confirm the 3rd pilot.
For those watching now, they'll get an idea. Here's one of the models from the series of how bad some of this model work could get.
Okay.
I'm sure it went at auction for a fortune.
Season 2, episode 3, the devilish Davidson Lights incident. Captain Ryan, Sergeant Fitz. Where are we?
Investigate a mass sighting.
Fly to Davidson, California to investigate a mass sighting of lights in the night sky believed to be UFOs. The sightings were documented over a 2-day period by dozens of people, included photographic evidence.
Right.
Number 4, the incident on the cliffs. A woman who repeatedly sees UFOs along the main coastline finally gets video proof she isn't hallucinating. However, her husband and psychiatrists still don't believe her. Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz fly to Maine to investigate further. Number 5, the Wild Blue Yonder incident. A female pilot on a training flight faces a board of inquiry after she violates restricted airspace, trying to chase down a UFO over Colorado Springs. Colonel Ryan and Sergeant Fitz review the report and decide to investigate. The Believe It or Not incident. Number 6, Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz traveled to Utah to investigate a UFO sighting that was reported by an engineering professor on behalf of one of the graduate students. Number 7, the camouflage incident. 3 men driving home from a 10-day fishing trip in Cabo San Lucas experienced a close encounter with a UFO, Captain Ryan and Fitz. Questioned 3 men, all of whom are considered to be well-respected men in their community.
Is that the camouflage incident, darling?
What did I say?
The carbo incident.
Oh, okay. The camouflage. Oh, God, I'm dyslexic.
Yep.
Okay. Number 8, the island incident. Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz fly to the Marshall Island after an American doctor, along with the native inhabitants of one of the islands, witness a UFO. After some coaxing, the natives finally are willing to talk about what they saw.
The indigenous, please.
That's right. Number 9 of season 2, the Superstition Mountain incident. 3 people in Indiana Springs, SD, witness a
Indian
UFO.
Springs, darling.
Indian Springs. Oh, God.
You're adding
Witness
to
the
it.
UFO come down and enter a mine shaft. When a young couple enter the shaft to check it out, they find strange-shaped deposits of pure magnesium. Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz investigate. Number 10, Ryan and Fitz investigate a UFO sighting by a teenager in California that they think might be linked to a signal that was beamed to a distant galaxy 15 years ago and the disappearance of an interceptor jet sent to investigate.
Wow.
The Scoutmaster incident is number 11. Scoutmaster witnesses a UFO while out camping with his troop in the wilderness of Mississippi. Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz fly south to the Magnolia State to investigate for Project Blue Book and discover another witness. The Atlantic Queen incident. Passengers and crew of the cruise ship Atlantic Queen have a close encounter with 2 UFOs. Captain Ryan and Fitz hitch a ride with a Coast Guard helicopter to investigate their claims while they are still at sea. I wonder if they got to eat from the buffet.
Oh, you love the buffet on those cruise
I love a
ships,
cruise
so-
ship buffet.
Yeah.
Episode 13, this was the last episode, the Whitman Tower incident.
Really? That's not the one where the sniper was.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz fly to California to investigate. No, that was in Texas. To investigate the sighting of a large UFO by several witnesses, including the air traffic controller. During the investigation, some witnesses claimed to have seen alien beings in the craft.
Wow.
So
well, it
that's
covered
the-
all bases. Abduction.
We did
They
everything.
travelled
everything,
overseas.
underwater,
The desert, the military.
mines.
They're all in
Like,
there. In
yeah.
1978 to 79, 26 episodes, 2 seasons,
Yep.
13 episodes a season.
Yep.
You will be able to go straight after this podcast and binge
Check 'em out.
watch for 26 hours. Project
Yep.
UFO.
Project UFO.
That one episode, that first season there sounds really fascinating. I'll
Mhm.
have to check that out.
Well, we
This-
might go back and revisit them again, you know.
I think we need to.
Mhm.
And you know what? You're on Untold Radio.
You are.
Hello, members. This is Chris. I have a cool news flash from the Untold Radio Network. Starting this May 2024, members of the Untold Radio Network will be receiving special after-hours show content notifications, plus a chance once a year to hang out on camera in a webinar setting with your favorite podcast personalities. And because we have 12 different shows, it means that each month you will get to meet different podcast hosts. This face-to-face meeting will allow you to discuss anything, ask questions, offer content suggestions, and get to know all of our hosts personally. Plus talk to them face-to-face through the magic of YouTube Live. Again, this is for members only. And don't worry, you will be notified well in advance of a simple sign-up reservation for that particular host or hosts. Plus, member-only after-hour shows will be available in our reserved members-only section on YouTube. Each podcast will be producing at least one after-hour show or more per year, and one webinar meet and greet per year. We sincerely thank you for being a loyal listener of your favorite Untold Radio Network shows and becoming a loyal member. Other perks include you getting top priority in chat, guest interactions, plus getting the answers to your great questions from our hosts and guests. There's even more perks to members, exclusive wallpapers, special discounts on books, merch, and more. So stay tuned for new announcements. This is Chris, signing off from the Untold Radio Network. We will be talking soon.
Well, Aspasia, who in the hell is Chris? Not just something like that octopus. The Michelle AI generated. No. You're on Untold Radio. Imagine when we do the one-on-one, hopefully we'll get a psychiatrist
Just
who'll be able to unravel our insanity. Colonel William Coleman is an interesting character. And again, people with fascinating careers seem to have moments missing, time missing when you do a deep dive.
Exactly.
And I couldn't find a page dedicated to William T. Coleman. And there's
Which
quite
there
a
should
few
have been.
William T. Colemans.
Yeah.
There's quite a few Colonel William T. Colemans.
There was one that had questions.
There's a very frightening one.
Yeah, there was a questionable one there.
That in the 40s at some stage, he was
assigned.
He was told, there was a statement he was never to have an African-American driver.
Yeah.
He'd been drinking. It was late night on a base. A car was called. They forgot about that little procedural thing.
Yeah.
And he shot the driver.
Because he was an African-American.
It's frightening, and he got out of it, and it was a frightening time. We
don't know if it was him or not.
I hope it's not him. Don't, do not say that allegedly. Please don't be that way.
We don't know, but there was another guy with the same name, same rank.
Controversy, 1988, worldwide, supposedly.
Yeah.
William Moore.
Yeah.
The
Jamie Chandray.
The Avery of, Condor and Falcon.
Right. Yeah.
The strawberry ice cream incident. I don't know if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about UFO cover-up
live,
hosted by the one and only Mike Farrell from MASH.
Yeah. Look, I was sitting. What year was that again?
88.
88. I was sitting there with my dad, because my dad wanted us to watch it, and I always had to translate for him. And
the Greek thing.
Yeah. And he was so. I mean, I wanted to watch it too because I thought, oh my God,
they're telling us
that there's aliens and they're real and they've got them, and then they're eating strawberry ice cream.
Well, it was real downer, wasn't it?
What the hell is that? Why would they?
They flew here just to get KFC.
Even if they did,
farmers.
Why would you give me such a
banal, ridiculous,
it's just thrown it now. It's like
and they're into Tibetan music.
Throwing a turd into the punch bowl. It's like, I don't want any of that punch now. Thanks.
But prior to that, they had two members of Blue Book.
Yeah, they did.
And one of them was William Coleman. And
with all the UFO sightings reported over the years in America, the logical question is, if they really exist, why don't they visit the White House? And then there they were, all of a sudden, on July 26, 1952. The Air Force tried and failed to intercept up to a dozen UFOs in the sky over the White House. The press conference 2 days later became the largest media event since the end of World War II.
We can say that the recent sightings are in no way connected with any secret development by any agency of the United States.
With all due respect to the Air Force, I believe that some of them will prove to be of interplanetary origin.
In my position in the Research and Development Organization of the Bureau of Aeronautics and of the Navy Department, I am thoroughly familiar with both our aircraft and our guided missiles programs and can state without reservation that the Navy has no saucer-shaped aircraft or missile in any of these programs.
Headlines around the country aroused so much attention that the Air Force formed an official investigative unit, Project Blue Book. With me now are two retired Air Force colonels who were actively involved in that inquiry. Colonel Robert Friend, who headed up Project Blue Book for 5 years, and Colonel William Coleman, a former Air Force squadron commander who was Pentagon spokesman and chief of public information for the Air Force. Colonel Friend, Colonel Coleman, welcome. Gentlemen, has the Air Force been involved with UFOs before the White House incident?
During World War II, our pilots saw what were called gremlins and Foo Fighters. These were fireballs that appeared to fly along with our aircraft.
We were concerned that these so-called Foo Fighters or fireballs might be foreign weapons that could threaten our national security.
And did the Air Force ever try to chase a UFO?
Yes, in fact, in 1948, one of our pilots crashed in pursuit of a UFO. The story made headlines all over the world.
As I understand it, that crash added emphasis to the conclusion that UFOs were extraterrestrial visitors.
That's true, but the Air Force rejected the conclusion on the grounds of insufficient evidence. Even the name of the project was changed from Sign to Grudge during that period to preclude this unhealthy association. However, by the time Blue Book got involved, we started running into trouble. hearings and inquiries regarding the way in which we were performing UFO investigations. In every instance, the Congress of the United States concurred in the way in which we conducted these projects. However, we were not disappointed with the 1969 decision to discontinue Project Blue Book.
Out of the 12,000 reported UFO sightings, only 700 remain unexplained. Of that remainder, 100 of them really worried us.
Why was that?
Because these 100 sightings involved the two criteria that defined a worrisome phenomenon: high strangeness and high credibility, meaning that highly credible, multiple witnesses, like military airline pilots, see something they've never seen before.
Have either of you ever seen a UFO?
Yes, it was 1955, and I was a squadron commander at the time. We were flying a B-25 over Alabama when we spotted a strange silvery object some 25,000 feet above us, heading in the same direction. Since we were overtaking it, I changed course and eventually got within 1/8 of a mile of it, literally right on top of the thing.
So you must have gotten a fairly good look at it.
We certainly did. The whole crew. It was wingless, a disc some 70 feet in diameter, 15 feet thick at the center, your average run-of-the-mill flying saucer.
And what happened then?
It performed an astonishing maneuver. 1 second it was there, the next it was gone. But we chased it and caught sight of it again. It was skimming over a farmer's field, kicking up vortexes of red dust as it flew. We closed in on it from behind the trees, but it vanished.
Did you make a report of this incident?
Well, I wrote up reports. I was later debriefed by an intelligence officer. And years later, when I was on Project Blue Book, I tried to find my report. It was not in the files.
Not in the files. Now, you say you saw this object at point-blank range. Could it have been a balloon or an experimental aircraft?
Absolutely not. It displayed a level of technology far beyond anything I had seen on the Earth then and now.
Well, with this advanced level of technology, were you ever concerned that the object could be a threat to national security?
No, not necessarily a threat to our national security, but I was uneasy about these UFOs because they were able to accomplish aerial feats that we couldn't. The apparent capability of these objects could possibly represent a threat to our national security.
What's become of Project Blue Book?
That's it, Mike. It was canceled in 1969 and will not be reactivated.
Well, Colonel Coleman, Colonel Friend, thank you both. And while we're on the subject of Blue Book, let's hear another view from a scientist currently working for the government. Now, because he has insisted on anonymity, both his appearance and his voice have been altered, but his credentials have been thoroughly researched by the investigative team of Bill Moore and Jamie Chandray. They've given him the code name Condor.
Project Blue Book was just a very low-level effort by the Air Force to collect information on sightings. It had a very minimal staff of one officer, an NCO, a secretary, and a scientist. The interesting, most exciting reports that came into Blue Book were often siphoned off by what they call moles within the organization. Those reports were pulled out of the files and never returned and just simply sent forward. The whole effort, as far as Blue Book was concerned, was that they tried every way they could to simply dismiss and explain away sightings. They certainly didn't want unknowns. The effort of Blue Book was to minimize the effects of these reports and to try to explain away as many as they could. And of course it worked. It worked in the fact that it closed down Project Blue Book and terminated the Air Force's involvement, official Air Force involvement, public involvement with the subject of UFOs. Of course, we know that they carried on with a covert operation after that.
When Blue Book closed down, the official U.S. government position was that UFOs didn't exist, and Americans accepted this contention as fact. Or did we? Subsequent reports were discredited, relegated to the tabloids at the supermarket checkout counter. After Blue Book's final report, anyone who claimed to see a UFO was considered some kind of nut. So most sightings go unreported, particularly sightings by aircraft pilots.
That was an interesting last line there from Mike Farrell, which makes a lot of sense. As you can see, this documentary was paradoxical.
Yeah.
And it's William Moore and Jamie Chandray who got the
MJ12 documents.
files, documents initially.
Yeah.
So blame it on them for the
No, you can't blame it on them.
proliferation of
They were put up to that. I'm sorry.
or whether they were put
to
up
it.
that
Yeah.
or not. This is prior to William Moore appearing in MUFON and saying that he'd been working covertly and assisting in the demise of Paul Benowitz, which was shocking.
Yep.
It was the end of his life and
They've
career
done worse things.
in,
Come on,
in
give me a break.
ufology. And William Moore, who came out with Charles Berlitz about the Roswell incident. So it's an astounding historical piece. Again, I believe, just like Project UFO, it is testing the waters,
Absolutely.
going out there. What they're trying to do is an assessment, like a Roper poll, of just how psychologically we are able to adapt with this or not.
Yeah.
And this is social engineering on a high scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are witnessing it in the extreme right at this moment with this gentleman.
And my last assignment was involved with the UAP task force, which maybe is the most apropos for this discussion.
And so, Karl, here's the $1 million question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
And so
that is unbelievable.
Yeah,
and that is an active Pentagon official, a person that has worked in every field, especially like our two stars in the Imagine television show Project UFO out of the Foreign Technology Division at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yep.
All roads lead back to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Look, none of these people that are high-ranking in the
Don't do
defense,
that without approval. You cannot step
you
up and
can't
make
just
those
go
statements.
out there because you'll lose your pension. You'll get done for, putting out stuff. It's just
But
people wouldn't take it off on their own back and say, let's just do
People
this. with our
don't
head
realize too the extensive control over print,
Uh-huh.
television, film media that is had in the world. Let's have a little look at what I believe is a real restructuring of Blue Book law, especially that of the profound J. Allen Hynek. Don't watch Project Blue Book. Go and read Mark O'Connell's incredible book here, The Close Encounters Man. How one man made the world believe in UFOs. Well, we're debating that. Is it Ray Palmer? Is it Donald Kehoe?
I'd say
is
it's
it
a
J.
bunch
Allen
of people.
Hynek?
Just depends
It's
what,
all of them.
what
Let's
field
have a
you
little
come
look
from
at this
that
ad, and I'll show you just a bit of this paradoxical disinformation. It's only a minute, and then we're up.
We have a situation in West Virginia. Family reported seeing something falling from the sky.
As God is my witness, it was not of this world.
You want me to investigate flying saucers?
I want you to help me prove to the public the truth. They don't exist.
If you believe that you have seen these strange lights in the sky, would you please raise your hand? How do you explain the damage? What type of UFO could do that?
I'm sorry, UFO what? I'm wondering if Professor Hynek will one day be a problem that needs solving.
You're watching us. Hey! There is something more going on here. I want to know what it is.
I say close the case. What the hell do you expect?
I expected to discover the truth.
Aspasia, I totally agree with you. It
looked like
sensational.
an amazing, and just
we could only watch 3 episodes
I
because
know,
I'm going
but
to
from
tear
an
my hair
entertainment
out.
point of view, it was fabulous if you didn't know the cases. But if you know the cases and you know
It's
the,
heresy. It's
the people,
blasphemy.
it's like, what are you doing? Why do you
You
have
are
to
fracturing
do
the
this?
truth.
Yeah, you don't,
And the stories
and you don't need
themselves,
to do that. Yeah,
the stories are so profound.
that's right. You
that
don't
they
need
don't
to
need to be
embellish.
touched.
You don't need to embellish.
Now,
them.
the bit there where Ruppelt,
Oh yeah, that was supposed to be
being addressed by J. Allen Hynek,
Yeah.
goes, UFO what?
Yeah.
As if to say, I've never heard that expression before. Ruppelt came up with that expression.
Yeah, he was the one who coined it.
So there's your little way of twisting and paradoxically confusing the waters, sending another seed out there to be harvested in the world of disinformation.
That's
and so
why,
when you reel it off, people go, you don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
that's why but it's really, really difficult to get a cohesive, overview of this subject matter because there's just been so
much noise attached to the signal.
So much mud So many
because it's been leaking
turds
like a
thrown
sieve.
into that punch bowl.
Leaking like a sieve from
so
day one.
Contaminated.
So Karl is nothing new, but Karl, if you haven't seen any of the press conferences, look at the legislation he's trying to get passed.
Yeah.
This man is astounding, but he must be a mouthpiece.
Absolutely.
They are afraid of catastrophic UFO disclosure. It is going to be a major avalanche effect.
Or they think that everybody's just going to
cyclonic
What do they think
cavalcade.
is going to happen? People are just going to collapse in the streets.
Run out of the screen. You know what people are going to do? They're going to go, "That's great. What are we having for dinner?
Yeah.
And what's on TV now?"
What's the next Netflix or
People couldn't be
Stan thing?
bothered.
Yeah,
Our own
no.
lives are so difficult. You know, I read a piece last night, and we are losing our warehouse after 22 years.
That's
it is
okay.
so difficult to live in this city. I read a piece last night that people are stating between $150,000 to $180,000 they need to survive in Sydney per year.
Wow.
Now we would spend that over the course of 6, 7, maybe 8
we
years.
don't. Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah, not 1 year by no means. We don't do that. We live
don't have
on
that
bread
much
and
money.
water, people. That's why our lighting is insane.
Anyway.
Look, we don't care. We know we're a lot better off than others, but it is a freaky moment. And to lose the place that you live because we're surrounded by corruption and it's so expensive to rent here, it is a nightmare. And we were hoping that, we got that message from Doug initially. Do you want to buy a new car? Well, I've got one, Doug. It's a DeLorean and it's a Hot Wheels. It's the only thing I can afford. It cost me $1 at the dollar shop in LA that day.
Yeah. That's 99 cents. Anyway.
99-cent shop. Actually, that was a great shop.
It was
Love that shop.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that palaver.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us.
So
We're
that
going to be
that's
great.
another cultural, highly, significant cultural moment in entertainment on television.
And we're hoping to
That
go
was
to Loch Ness very soon.
Seeding. So link in the notes for UFO Cover Up Live if you want to have a look at it.
You're going to put that in there?
It's there.
You've got to look at it.
It's
if
there.
you have never seen it, you've got to look at it.
It's a highly interesting show, 1988. And it was, the campaign for it was huge.
Advertised.
And
It's supposed to be around the world within 24 hours.
That's right. So it was like
Every
going to
country.
be beamed.
It was going to be the ultimate
I doubt if it
disclosure.
was beamed in Africa somehow.
Yeah.
In Ethiopia. Back
Ukraine,
in the
Russia. I mean, they had Russians on it, so they did a live Russian segment,
they did.
so I
They
shouldn't
did.
laugh
It was
about
all over,
that.
but not every single.
But as you can see there,
it was a huge, like to organise that.
two
it's pretty big.
representatives of Blue Book there.
Yeah.
I mean, it had highly credentialed people saying really fascinating stuff.
For sure.
And then the Avery behind the silhouettes was saying interesting and then absurd
strawberry
stuff.
ice cream.
When you've got real information chucked in with
strawberry ice cream.
Okay. All right. And Tibetan music. That's
was
really
like,
what the aliens
what?
love.
What
All right.
is going on there? Anyway, like I said, in the show notes, UFO Cover Up Live and a link to
Project UFO.
UFO,
the 2 seasons,
26 episodes.
26
You can have a look at them all.
Cherry pick them. If you find something fascinating in there, you think's a research link, as we found in Science Fiction Theatre from 1955, the first season, there is an episode about the Roswell crash.
That's right.
It's not very specific, but it's a crash of
that's
an
definitely
object
there.
down in New Mexico.
All right.
So
That's it. We are just being inundated with
it
rain
is
here.
showering
It's
with
just
rain, and we've
pouring.
had flooding, we've had plumbing problems, electrical problems. We do need to get out. It is the fall of the House
Anyway,
of Usher.
it is.
We have rented for
It's the fall
22
of the House
years,
of Meson. But
and
anyway,
they've done nothing to it.
no, I know.
But
All
we
right.
still love our warehouse.
But we will be back next week.
And we love all our
With another show,
subscribers, our
absolutely.
listeners,
Yeah.
even people that call me too woke. Baby, woke one day, out of control
Broke
the
the
next.
next. All right.
You're on
All right.
Untold Radio.
You
It's an
are.
honor and privilege to be here. My name's Jay Katz. This is my beautiful wife, Aspasia, and we will be back with you. Take care, everyone. We love our moderators. We love the people that come and chat. We love the scientists, the academics. We love the proletariat. We love the homeless.
We love
We love
everybody.
it all. We are so woke, it's ridiculous.